Thank you so much for joining us on Dwellynn Show. I'm your host, Ola Dantes. I've got an incredible guest with us today. Eloy, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, Ola. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Yeah, so I know about your story, I know what you do. But for our guests listening to us, can you just kind of tell us a little bit more about who you are, your synopsis, what you've been doing, and kind of what you've been doing lately, actually?
My name is Eloy Retana. I'm with Apex Communities. Lately, we've been buying up mobile home parks in the Central Florida area. I've been in and out of real estate for the last 20 years, but now I'm settled in on multifamily and specifically right now, mobile home parks.
Yeah, nice. So you said you've been in and out of real estate investing. Some guests that are probably listening to this might feel that way, like they've tried, maybe flipping, they've tried wholesaling, they've kind of been in and out. So kind of give us a little bit more about that and, and your journey of, why you've been in and out and kind of what you've been doing. I think it might help someone listening.
Yeah, for the vast majority of people like myself, we still have full-time jobs. So it hasn't been like a complete jump into real estate like the way other people have. So, like most people, I started with single family homes, just trying to acquire rentals, right? And as you grow your business and as you try to do, grow that, you find out that you can do other things. There's so many niches within the real estate space that you realize, wow, there's so many different ways to go about it. I think it has to do with, a lot of it has to do with what are you trying to get out of it, right? Are you looking to do this full time, or are you just looking to build perhaps retirement income, or are you looking to replace your job altogether with, passive income today? I think once you ask yourself those questions and answer, honestly, then there's a focus. There's probably a niche that fits what you're trying to accomplish, right? So, I've tried doing picking up single family homes, doing owner finance and lease options, and at some point I tried wholesaling and flipping. None of that was for me. It was like this, flipping and wholesaling specifically. They're like full-time jobs, right? Which is fine if that's what you want. But I already had a full-time job and I enjoyed it, right? And I was making a great living. I wasn't looking for that. I wasn't looking for another job. So I needed to find something that would allow me to build out for my retirement. And then maybe one day have enough passive income where I can quit my job altogether. And the way for me to do that was, as time went on, is I learned to do it through multifamily, right? And then as I'm looking for, my partner and I were looking for deals, we came upon mobile home parks, and we thought, as we looked into it, we realized that this was the asset for us.
Interesting. So yeah, I think that's a very, very insightful story, because you talk about you tried, single family, and you tried using some wholesale, I guess, and it just
Yeah.
wasn't for you, right? So, can you just kind of go through a little bit why, why it wasn't really for you? Because of course you said you didn't want to replace your job, right? But why wasn't it for you, and why is multifamily, when you benchmark the two, which is wholesale and single family and then multifamily, why do you think that's more a fit for your personality and who you are? I want to dig in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, well, first of all, when people think of real estate investing, they generally think of two things, and that's flipping homes and rentals, right? Because that's what we see on TV, right? And as you start to learn the flipping business, you realize, if I don't want to flip this home that I've got under contract, I can just wholesale it to somebody else, right? That's one way to do it. But these are not what I would consider investing. They're more transactional, right? Because as soon as you complete one, you got to do it all over again, right? So you're not taking that money you're investing. These are single transactions, and you got to keep doing them over if you want to keep making money. So it's like a job, as the way I saw it is it's a job already. And if you want to do, and that really wasn't what I was after. I was after pursuing monthly income, right? And at the beginning, it was mostly about how do I build out my retirement, because I was so dissatisfied with my returns in the stock market since I had lost everything back in 2008 that I didn't really want to risk any of my retirement money in the stock market. So how do I build out for the future, right? Was my primary concern. And then if I got to the point where I'm making sufficient monthly income, am I in a position to quit my job altogether and just live off my monthly income, right? So I needed to seek out niches within the real estate space that allowed me to get to my goal. And that's how I was looking at things. Now, if you're looking for a job or looking to do this full time, yeah, flipping homes might be a great opportunity, right? Wholesaling might be something that you might want to look into. Everybody's different, and I think it comes down to what are your personal goals? What are you hoping to get out of this? And then seek out a real estate niche that'll fit that need.
Fascinating. So then you found yours. So can you kind of tell us a little bit how you discovered multifamily and maybe take us through kind of your first deal? How did you find it? How did you fund it? What was the story behind it?
Yeah, so everything started. I had never even heard of buying apartments. I didn't know that was a thing, right? Doing multifamily. And then one day I met my now partner, Steve, who was telling me about he was going to a class where he was going to be able to buy apartments, and he was looking for partners, right? And he asked me if I might be interested in partnering up with him, and I thought, I don't have millions of dollars to go buy apartments, right? It sounded like a great idea, but it sounded like pie in the sky stuff for me. But as I started to learn more about this opportunity, I started going to meetups here locally in Denver where I live, and another local syndicator here, Adam Adams, was talking about how you can team up with like-minded people with the same goals, right? And you can team up and you guys can pursue an apartment deal, multifamily deal. What that would allow you to do is, by going bigger and teaming up and going bigger, you'd be able to reach your goals a lot quicker, right? And that made a lot of sense to me. So it came down to, what do I want to focus within the team? Do I want to focus on acquisitions? Do I want to focus on asset management? Do I want to focus on capital raising, trying to meet investors to bring into our deals? And I found that, well, this is a great opportunity and it's going to help me reach my goals significantly quicker. So as we started looking for deals, we quickly found out that in Denver, there's not a whole lot going on because everything's so overpriced, right? Like in most markets nowadays, everything's just too expensive. So we needed to branch out to other markets. So we started looking at places like Tucson and Phoenix, and found out, same deal there. Everything's just overpriced. You can find deals, but you have to dig. You really have to dig. And finally, about a year later, at looking, we figured it was going to take us about a year, right, of just calling brokers and trying to find out the first deal. And finally, we found something in Florida, in the Cape Canaveral area. My partner found a mobile home park. So when he brought it up to me, I think I found something. I thought, okay, well, let's see it, right? And he said, I think I found a trailer park. When I first heard that, I was like, no. That was the first. My immediate reaction was, no way. I don't want anything to do with that. But he was like, no, look at these numbers. We're never going to make these kind of numbers in an apartment deal. And I looked at that and I thought, wow, this is something else, right? So I basically told him, I said, look, give me a few days to kind of bury myself in mobile home park information. So I spent the next few days downloading every book, listening to every podcast that I can get my hands on to learn mobile home parks, right, as much as I could in just in a few days. And after I did that, I realized that not only were mobile homes the right asset for us, I thought the timing was also really, really good, right? Because we were reaching a point of economic uncertainty over the next several years, and we wanted to position ourselves in such a way that we're gonna be acquiring assets that are gonna grow in value as the economy begins to turn down, right? So that's what we did. We found our first deal in Cape Canaveral. It was a small park. It was 18 units. I'm trying to remember I think we paid about $650 for it, and it was like a 8 cap. So it was a really, really good deal because, as it turns out, the owner, who had owned it for about a year, had picked it up from her mother, right? Her mother had passed away, and she had owned it for about 25 years. And then that entire time, they never raised the rents. Right. So there was an opportunity there for us to be able to raise the rents up to market level. So some of these people were paying like $250 190 per month. Crazy, right? This just a couple of years ago, they're paying. Of course they were never going to leave, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I want to pay $200 a month, right?
Exactly. In 2021
right? So
or 2020, I don't
in
know what year
2021,
that
paying
was.
200.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly, right?
Paying 200
so
for anything.
for anything. So that was the opportunity, and that's what we seek out today. Right? We seek out opportunities like that where we have these mom and pop owners who have owned their parks for several years, couple of decades, in fact, and maybe they own it free and clear, and now they're looking to they don't have the money to fix the places up, and there's going to be an opportunity when you can find parks like that, and you can find owners that are willing to sell.
So what was your delta from that kind of $200 to where you guys bumped your rent? So I'm trying to get an idea of the spread.
So right now the market rent in that area is about $650 for lot rent, right?
Wow.
Yeah, and we raised the rents right now up to $500. So there's still, after a couple of years, there's still room for growth. Now, we don't want to be jerk landlords, so we're not going to take them from 200 all the way to 600, right? We want to be fair, and we want to keep these people around, as long as they keep paying their rent. So we just slow raises, $20 here, $50 here over the course of several years. But we do want to get these rents up to market level, right? And then, we fixed, since most of these units are tenant owned, we don't own the units themselves. We establish new rules when we take over the park, and we want the owners to apply a fresh coat of paint to the exterior of their homes. It'll give the park and the homes a nice fresh look, right? So when we do little things like that, it increases the value of the park because we're able to collect more rent. So just like multifamily, right? The value of the entire property as a whole is based on how much rent you're collecting, right? But in order for you to raise the rent, you got to give people a reason, right, to want to pay more rent in that area, right? So by cleaning up the place and giving everything a fresh look, people they're going to be okay with paying more.
That makes sense. So you when did you guys purchase this park again?
18 months ago, exactly. So we're in the process of refining right now, in fact. So we'll be able to return some of the capital, if not most of the capital, to our investors who partnered up with us on this deal.
Nice. So I would ask you the same question I always ask mobile home guys and girls that have been on this podcast. Why is mobile homes not as sexy as apartments? I mean, why do you think? I mean, you mentioned that, the first time your partner brought it, you're like, no, I've got nothing to do with trailer parks. That was kind of your reaction. Why do you think most people have that initial reaction? And can you kind of burst some myths about mobile home now that you're owner?
Yeah, so there's definitely a stigma with mobile homes, right? People when they hear a trailer park, they want to stay away, right? Because they've developed a bad reputation over the last decades. Where I don't think it isn't fair, because at least the parks that we own and the parks some of our friends own, we don't see the kind of issues if you're looking at TV, if you're watching the TV, and trailer parks are always put in a bad light, as crime-ridden, drug infested, gang infested. I'm sure there are parks like that in certain parts of the country, but they're bad neighborhoods with or without mobile home parks, right? So it's kind of unfair to kind of pin that. But that's the stigma that people have when they think of a trailer park, right? The reason they're so good, particularly right now, and the reason that even bigwigs like Sam Zell and I'm blanking, but the big hedge funds right now, the private equities, they've been buying up mobile home parks over the last 5 years because they are a safe, quote unquote, safe investment. It's a safe place for them to park their money. So they're buying the really, really large parks, right, and then raising the rents. So, and right now they own up to 20% of the parks in the country, right? So that alone tells you, well, why is that? Why is that Wall Street, private equity firms, why do they feel that this investment or this asset class is safe, right? If it's safe for them and they're buying up they don't care. They know they want to make money. If they're making steady returns, that's what they're after. And that's what I'm after, right? I'm after steady returns that's in a quote unquote safer investment.
Yeah, I mean, Wall Street and private and PE firms, they're definitely not stupid for the
No,
most
they're
part
not, definitely.
anyways. Yeah, and Sam Zell
Yeah.
is definitely not stupid.
No.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So if I'm someone listening to this podcast and I'm thinking, I kind of want to do what Eloy did. I want to buy a mobile home park. What's the first thing someone listening to this should go do if they're trying to follow your steps?
Yeah, although the first thing I did I had already invested passively in other people's deals, right? That way I'm learning from the outside, right? I always tell people if you're looking to get into multifamily, you should understand a little bit about multifamily. You'd be surprised how many people don't ask questions. They just, they trust you, and that's a good thing. But you should still be familiar with what you are investing in, right? Even if you're only investing passively, what kind of questions to ask, how to get involved. But if you're looking to get active in this asset class, start out by maybe investing in somebody's deal passively, and then learning the ropes that way. There's also many Frank and Dave's boot camp. The Mobile Home Park University is a great way to learn if you want to be involved actively, as in you're going to seek out your own deals. You're going to try to raise money for your own deals. There's ways to do that, but you got to come. I go back to the same thing. What are you trying to accomplish by investing in real estate? Do you want to be active, or do you want to be passive? Right? Because I've had friends that say, "Hey, help me buy a rental. I want to start collecting rentals." And one of the things I always ask is, "Are you ready to manage those yourself? Right? Are you ready to fix the leaky roofs and the toilets and get calls in the middle of the night from your tenants?" And some people are like, "No, I don't want to do that. I just want to collect rent." You can't have it both, right? You can collect rent, but you're gonna have to take those phone calls unless you want to hire a property manager, and that bites into your profit. So if you want to invest passively, you let somebody like my team do the work, right? And then you collect your quote unquote rent payments that way. So there's many different ways, but I always go back to the same thing. What are you trying to accomplish?
So I think I'll throw that question out to you. So now you're in the mobile home, park investing space. What are you trying to accomplish? What is the long-term goal? What is the vision for your business?
Well, as we continue to grow, I'm using my passive income that I collect from our investments to build out our retirement, right? Because I think I might have mentioned it briefly, but I lost everything in 2000 because I had all my money invested in the stock market, and I don't want to go through that again. I wanted to park my money in a safer place, right? There's inherent risk with everything. There's no free anything, but I always felt that real estate was a safer bet, right? If you're gonna put your money in a safer place, real estate's the place to put it. Now within the real estate space, you want to find safer investments, and to me, multifamily and mobile home parks specifically are the way to go. Now, do I want to buy? Would I like to get involved with buying an apartment? Sure. As time goes on and prices start coming down, perhaps there'll be opportunities to buy an apartment. I'd like to diversify that way too.
Perfect. Well, we're definitely dwelling into the quick round. These are going to be quick questions, quick answers. You ready, sir?
Sure.
All right. First question. What makes you, Eloy, unique? What is that differentiating factor that separates you from the next guy or the next girl?
Yeah, I think I resonated a lot with the tech people because I'm in the tech industry. And most people aren't ready to just quit their jobs, right? They want to ease into it, right? And that's what I did basically, right? So I think I resonate with a lot of people, and that my focus is on investor relations and making sure that people feel comfortable with what we're doing, right? So we're all in this together.
Nice. Next question. What was the last book that you read, and what was the one thing you picked up from that book?
Oh, that's a great question. I was just thinking of, I'm trying to remember his name. Oh God, I'm blanking. Sorry.
It's okay. You can always send it to us. We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay.
Yeah. Final question. you've got your business going, you're busy, you're looking for more deals. What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Well, out here in Denver, we've got a lot of outdoorsy stuff going on, right? Especially during the summer. I love to mountain bike. I love to get out and run in the hills. A lot of hiking. There, in Colorado, we have 58, 14,000 foot mountains. I've done 26 of them, so my goal is to do at least 2 or 3 a year till I do them all. So I definitely like the outdoors, and it's one of the reasons I live out here in Denver.
Wow, fascinating. Did not know that fact. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, if there's someone listening and thinking, wow, maybe they're in the Colorado market, or maybe they're anywhere in the country and they want to partner with you or know more about what you're doing, what's the best place people can reach out, get to know you more?
Well, I have it up here on my site, partner with Apex. You can join our VIP list, and I put out weekly content where you can learn about mobile home parks and multifamily in general. And there's a calendar link once you drop your email there, and we can talk about what some of your goals are.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Eloy. Really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Ola, thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed this time that we had together. Thank you.